Hey guys, Pojo here. I've made a new build. Don't be disappointed. It's another Flicker Strike build. But this one builds around the Aura Sacrifice Infernal Sword, which was built in the game, I guess, 2 patches ago. It deals no physical damage. It deals purely fire damage, which means quality means nothing for the sword, but I just wanted the weapon to be a quality one, so I did it nevertheless. It has an increased attack speed. Then it has chance to ignite 20%, and if your attack ignites an enemy, you gain a frenzy charge. And you have Culling Strike against burning enemies, and then there's the negative one, you take 20% increased physical and fire damage. Now, when I saw this sword first, I immediately thought about Flicker Strike. Why not? It seems like perfect. It even has Culling Strike against burning enemies, which helps Flicker Strike builds a lot more than any other build. But still, there are a lot of problems with having to build around pure elemental weapon damage. The first of the problems is you cannot really scale it with the passive tree. The only thing you can use is fire damage, which are like 6% nodes and stuff. You can use weapon elemental damage, which is a bit more. There's 40% near the Templar. This character is a Templar, and yes, I picked those nodes. And there is Lava Lash, which is 30% increased fire damage with weapons. But still, it's just not a lot. You won't reach 200 or 250% increased physical damage like with other builds. And then even with melee physical or with my other build, which is Chaos Inoculation, melee physical and melee physical on full life, you won't reach those really high damage numbers. But it should still work. And actually, the build works. But my gear at the moment is as much as not optimized as it can possibly get. I got this Infernal Sword. In it I have my Double Strike, Multi-Strike, Life Leech and Weapon Elemental damage. For the single target, the DPS is close to 6,000, which is actually, it's okay at the moment. For a 4-link, I will put in Fire Penetration to this, of course, which should help a lot if I eventually get it 5-linked. The sword is not at maximum damage. There is a bit more potential, but it's an okay one. Then I use Joffrey's Crest, +1 level of gems in these items. I have a Leap Slam. It's always very important to have a Leap Slam if you use a Flicker Strike build, so you can leap away if you're in the middle of the packs and you don't have a Frenzy Charge left. Increased area of effect and increased duration for the Blood Rage. The area of effect is just sitting there. Blood Rage, I still need it. I would not be able to sustain Frenzy Charges without it at the moment, but of course this is the plan. And because I have to use Blood Rage, I really need Joffrey's Crest at the moment, because 28% chaos resistance is a huge deal. Then I have to use Asiris Fouable at the moment, because the mana costs are insane. I'm using a Tabula Rasa, which is a 6-link, and I need to use Mana Leech, and have this Amulet, and have Clarity, and from time to time use a Mana Potion to have enough mana. So, maybe Blood Magic will be an option, but I will see. The rings are absolutely nothing special. Life and resists. This one has some lightning damage, but doesn't matter. The boots are Blood Dance, so first of all another source to get Frenzy Charges on kill. They look cool with the gore footprints, you know, that's just detail. There is Dexterity in it, which actually helps a lot, because Flicker Strike has a really high. Flicker Strike has 119 Dexterity requirement on level 14. I have 125 with the Blood Dance and several plus 30 Dexterity nodes in the tree. But the most important thing, and the reason I actually changed to Blood Dance after I started using the Flicker Strike, was the life regeneration. Because I could not sustain my life easily with having Blood Rage running. I had to use potions all the time or my life would just drop. And 1% life regen per frenzy charge is just a huge deal, and it helps a lot. My belt is again nothing special, some life, some cold resistance, the gauntlets as well. In the boots there is anger, clarity and reduced mana, but at the moment I cannot run anger, but the plan obviously is to use anger as well, so which is another, about in 2 levels will be another 100 base fire damage, which is about a 20% buff to my sword. And obviously clarity for the mana. In the gauntlets there is a flame ability, Enduring Cry with increased area of effect and cost when damage taken on level 1, so I get as much flame ability and Enduring Cries out as I can get, because at the moment I cannot run fire penetration in my 6th link. I know that's really bad, but I just don't have the space for it, so flame ability has to do. It means 34% fire resistance, less on enemies, and 10% chance to be ignited, which means I get more frenzy charges out of it, so it will be easier to get the frenzy charges rolling without Blood Rage when I finally change to concentrate fully on the ignite effect. This will happen when I can finally afford 2 tamings. 1 taming is about 6 to 7 exalted, and at the moment I have 3x and about 100 chaos, so I could buy 1 taming at the moment. The sense behind the taming is the 5% chance to ignite with the fire damage. If I use 2, I have 30% chance to ignite just from my base equipment, plus it has a lot of elemental resistances, so I can balance out the rest of my gear a bit more easily. And it has, in total, if you're using weapons, 30% increased elemental damage each, which means 60% increased elemental damage, plus if an enemy burns, it's another 10% increased damage. So I think it should help a lot, and it will mean that I can focus purely on either uniques or just the highest life roll I can get on the rest of my gear. And obviously the Tabula Rasa, I need a 6 link, and I don't think I will be able to afford a 6 link chest in the near future, so I will have to stick with Tabula Rasa, which obviously is a huge hit in the defensive part of the build, but hey, can't change it. Well, the main 6 link is a Flicker Strike, a Life Leech, a Multi-Strike, a Mana Leech, a Melee Splash, and Weapon Elemental Damage, which is the only thing that scales the damage. Yeah, if I will change to be critting, I will obviously take my 20% Flicker Strike I have in the other character and use this one. And I will skill the 140% increased critical chance with 2-handed weapons in the tree. Speaking of the tree, well, I started as a Templar, got the mana, got the elemental damage and resistances, got the AoE, got the life, got the weapon elemental damage, got some fire damage. 6% increased fire damage is really not a lot, but I just have to take it. I don't see any other options to scale my damage, so whatever. Life, then I will take the full life clusters here. I have to get these 30 decks, and those life here. Then at the moment I use Riddle technique, so I hit all the time, which helps a lot. Then I got the life regen, and maybe I will even get those 0.4% life regen nodes here. I got the full life cluster, I got the resistances so I can balance out the rest of the gear more easily. I got the attack speed, I got another 30 dex, I got life and Lava Lash 30% fire damage. And in the future I will drop Resolute technique. I will get those 30, 30 and 80% increased critical strike chance with two-handed melee weapons. Because at the moment I'm only sitting on level 68, which isn't a lot, so the next 10 levels will be easy grind, so 10 more points, and maybe I will respec some of the points. I will definitely get the points back from Resolute Technique, so it should be okay. Maybe I will get the fire damage down here, but again it's just, well, it's 118%, but it's 6% damage. That's just close to nothing. So yeah, maybe I'll get Unwavering Stance. So far I have no problems with being stunned, but for Flicker Strike builds it's extremely important, because if you're stunned, you're normally sitting in the middle of a pack, which means certain death. But maybe I will build for evasion. Not so sure. I will see this in the future. Like a lot of other stuff with this build, it's not optimized, and I just rushed the Templar up to get it to play with this build, and it is quite awesome. It's a lot faster than my last Flicker Strike build. The base attack speed is 1.36. The axe had 1. So for me, it's a personal improvement in terms of reactiveness of the character. But the damage at the moment is nowhere comparable. That's for sure. So yeah, check out the other video if you just want to see the action and how I do a map. I will do an easy map, because at the moment, as I said, the build is just yeah. Hope you have fun. See you guys.